guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Lizzie and today I'm going to be talking about my experience with going to the Bagan's Haunted Museum. So as some of you know, I recently went to the Haunted Museum here in Las Vegas, which is where I live, with Emma from Spooky Astronauts. She will also be doing a video about her experience with going, so there will be a link in the description below for you to check that out. So definitely make sure that you check out both of those, and if you are not subscribed to either of us, make sure that you are. Go ahead and just get into talking about it. So going into this, I didn't know much about the museum or about Zach himself. I don't watch a lot of those, like, I guess he's on Ghost Adventures, so I don't really watch a lot of those type of shows. Though I did watch Deadly Possessions and the kind of documentary Demon House that he did prior to filming this, just to get like a little update. Deadly Possessions is a show that he has about the items in the museum. So if you're interested in this video, I definitely suggest checking that out because it does give you some more detail. While we were waiting in line, Emma did get me updated a little bit on kind of Zach and the museum. She let me know about the different documentaries and TV shows that he's on, or does, I guess, and a little bit about kind of some of the items in the museum. Initially, when we were thinking about going to this, we both thought it was going to be something where you just walk through. We didn't realize it was like a whole tour guide situation, so just as an FYI, if you do ever plan on going, you go in a group of about 13 people, I believe is what it was, and they just walk you through all these rooms. There's 30 rooms in the museum, and they tell you all about it. And also, while we were waiting line, you do have to sign basically like a consent form warning you that bad stuff could happen from entering, or, you know, warning you that these items are possessed, and that they have affected people in the past. So just another FYI, if you ever plan to go in, you gotta sign a consent form. That was definitely a little like, okay, well, this is definitely going to be very, very interesting. Now, the house itself is the Wingert House, built in 1983, and a lot of the local Vegas residents believe that it is haunted by past family members who died in the house or have died since. Also, it is rumored that while it was empty before Zach bought it, that people would often break in and do satanic rituals in the basement. They also informed us that Zach himself does some rituals in the basement to keep the spirit energy alive. The museum has more than 30 rooms, some of which have these haunted items, which we will talk a little bit more about in a minute. It also features some murderabilia, things like art from John Wayne Gacy, as well as Charles Manson and some of Charles Manson's bone fragments. There is also a room about celebrity deaths. It featured it had things like a chair that was in Michael Jackson's room when he died. It also had some crime scenes. It had the trench coat from Crow. It had like a lot of really interesting past celebrity memorabilia. There were also crime scenes in some of the murderabilia rooms. There was one room specifically from a killer who tied up and tortured his victims, and the whole room had like the bed that the victims were tied to and had crime scenes. And some of those rooms, myself and Emma definitely felt a little bit weird about. You know, it does kind of feel a little odd, a little disrespectful almost, looking at these crime scenes and like the evidence of what happened to these poor victims. But one of my favorite items in the museum was Bela Lugosi's mirror. For those of you who don't know, Bela Lugosi played the original Dracula in the 1981 film. One of my favorites. Just love Bela Lugosi. He's obviously a horror icon. And so when they told us that they had that mirror, I was super excited. Now, a little background into the mirror. The mirror is said to have witnessed a murder. It was a pretty gruesome murders that the wife of the man that was murdered believes that it was in fact a mob hit, but it is still an unsolved crime until this day, and it is believed that some of that bad energy, bad mojo, transferred itself into the mirror, and people who have lived with the mirror since that crime have said to seen a dark creature behind themselves, feel themselves being bitten or attacked in some way, or have had dreams of being murdered while they're sleeping in the room with the mirror. They do have a curtain over it, which they open and allow you to look into the mirror if you would choose. I did not. I was not gonna risk it on this tour. I know Emma did, and I don't believe that she had any experiences regarding the mirror itself. Though I know that after the mirror they do show footage of a woman who fainted in the next room that you go into after having looked in the mirror. They do tell you that if you start to feel anything, headaches, nausea, anything, while on the tour, feel just out of character, to let tour guides know right away. I don't think anybody on our tour did, however, so that's a good thing. But that was definitely like my favorite item to find out was there, and was like, I'm kind of totally jealous, even though there's like a spooky story behind it, so I wouldn't probably actually want to have the mirror itself. Now I do want to talk about several of the haunted items within this room, so within this tour. So when you are going through the tour, they do warn you about the items, what is believed to be possessed, and what the items have done or how they have affected people, and they allow you to choose whether or not you want to go into that room. I know there were some people that skipped certain rooms. There were, I think, 2 items that I skipped. I know one that Emma skipped, and so they do, yeah, they allow you to choose whether or not you want to interact with these items and warn you of what could possibly happen or has happened. One of the items that really, kind of the first item that really scared me was probably Peggy the doll. Now, I'm sure most of you have heard about Peggy. If you have not, basically she is believed to be the most possessed doll, even over Annabelle or Robert. She is believed to have the soul of a woman who died from some sort of chest-related disease, so you can hear her heavily breathing, and there are rules when you go into Peggy's room. You must say hello and goodbye, and one person from the tour group is allowed to ask a question. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when I went in there, I was pretty distracted, I was pretty freaked out, but I did still go into the room, and so I was really just focused on trying to appear as respectful as I could to Peggy, and so, you know, they do have this little, I'm not sure what exactly it's called, but it's like a little box so you can try and listen to her. I know that they use them on all those ghost hunter shows, and yeah, it definitely sounds like somebody breathing. Now, Emma did say that she did hear her say God, which I'm sure she will have addressed in her video. I did not hear that, but like I said, I was pretty freaked out and just trying to, again, appear as respectful as possible, so I really wasn't focused that much on that aspect of it. Now, along with Peggy, of course, there are several other possessed items. There is the, and I may pronounce this wrong, Dibibox. I'm probably pronouncing that completely wrong, but is said to be the most possessed item in the world. And there's also the staircase from the demon house, which, like I mentioned, there's a documentary about that you can watch. I just watched it on Amazon Prime, so if you have an Amazon Prime account, it is available to already watch through there. And probably one of the scariest items, the item that that our entire tour group, including myself and Emma, skipped out on, which they said was the head of a man that was killed during the witch trials. Now, I don't recall if it's specifically in Salem, or where it was that he was killed, but basically they have the head of this guy, and when you go into the room, you have to keep moving. You're not supposed to stop. You can look at the head, but you're not supposed to talk to it. You're basically just supposed to keep moving, just go around and come out of the room, and you have to go in by yourself. So of course all of us were like, hell no, not doing that. I honestly, like, I was kind of surprised that Emma did it. I thought she'd be brave enough to, but it did feel good that she was just basically as freaked out by a lot of this as I was. So yeah, that was probably the scariest item for them to tell us about. Now, if you guys are wanting a little bit more detailed information, like I said, there is that documentary, Deadly Possessions, but Amy's Crypt actually has a pretty good article about her experience with going, so I will leave a link to that in the description below as well. You can definitely do more research into these items if you're wondering more about them. I just didn't want to like boggle with too much information because it makes the video like really fucking long, and I obviously don't remember every single detail that they told us. It's a long tour. There's over 30 rooms. Again, when I went into this, didn't really know what to expect going into this. I will say it can be a little over the top at times. They're obviously like intentionally trying to scare you. You know, the atmosphere is set so it is spooky, and of course they tell you all these stories and give you all of these details about these haunted items. So you're kind of purposely on edge, which, I mean, it's a haunted museum and it makes sense, and if you've watched any of that stuff, it kind of does make sense. But obviously I didn't know any of that going in. So yeah, I would be lying if I didn't say that I was definitely pretty freaked out and scared by some of the objects and while going through this tour. Now, I don't think that I brought anything home with me, but I will say when I got home, I didn't feel great at first. That first kind of night home, I was having a really hard time sleeping. I really just felt kind of like dizzy and nauseous at times. I definitely put on some comedy while I tried to go to bed. But yeah, that first night I did not do well, and I know that that is like all subconscious. I'm perfectly fine now, guys, so don't even worry about it. But yeah, it was definitely a fun experience, and I'm so glad that I went, and of course so happy that I got to hang out with Emma. That was also totally worth it, even if the museum had totally sucked. But luckily it didn't. So if you're ever in the area and you're wanting to check it out, I definitely suggest you do. The tickets are a little pricey. They are about $40, I believe. But you get like a cool little ticket that you take with you, and see a lot of fucking weird stuff. So yeah, like, again, I definitely suggest that if you're ever in the area, you check it out. If you did enjoy this video, please do give a big old thumbs up and make sure that you hit that subscribe button for more horror-related content. And before I go, I want to give a quick shout out to my Patreons. Thank you guys so much for helping to contribute to the channel. If you want to know the perks to being Patreon, links are in the description below, along with all of my social media. And of course, again, a link to Emma's channel and to her video. So make sure again that you check that out and subscribe to her, and I'll see you guys later with another video.